Hey there, welcome to day 295 of our BU 365 day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Today we're going to be talking about the change paradox. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, although this is one of my absolute favorite things to embrace and things to think about. The change paradox says that the only constant is change. And I think we spend a lot of our lives fighting against and pushing against change and challenges and obstacles and things that come our way. But once we realize that change, like death and taxes and like all kinds of other things, maybe not taxes where you're from, but in the United States for sure, and death is coming for all of us someday, as soon as we embrace and we realize that it's something that's outside of our control, and it's going to happen all the time, we'll set up a process. We'll figure out a way to handle it for us. And when we realize that we do that and we can control ourselves in this situation, change isn't scary anymore. We embrace change, and all of a sudden, change gives me goosebumps, gets exciting and fun. So this whole challenge, this entire challenge is about change, right? Doing one thing every day that improves us in some way, because we want to take control of the fact that we're going to change no matter what. We're going to age no matter what, right? Are we going to age gracefully by controlling and managing how we change and age, or are we just going to let it happen to us? The vast majority of people in the world just let it happen to them, and then they deal with everything every day as it comes. And they don't have a system, a process, a way of dealing with it that's conscious. All of us have a subconscious way of, and we all deal with change, right? Because it's inevitable. It happens all the time, every day, sometimes thousands of times a day, right? Our body's cells are replacing themselves on a continuous, constant basis from the time we're conceived to the time we die, right? In our physical presence, we are always changing and growing. And so how do we embrace that? Well, a couple things. We're going to talk about it and start talking about it tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, Sunday for sure. We're going to start talking about the SOAP framework. Why? Because we're going to beat that dead horse, which makes me laugh because I think I had a horse thing around here. We're going to make sure by the end of this challenge, every one of us absolutely positively manages changes, and I say challenges that come our way, because really a lot of times change shows up as challenges, shows up as obstacles, shows up as setbacks. So if we can handle the ones that we initially consider bad or negative really, really well, it makes handling all the good things that happen to us even more amazing and productive. So we're going to use the SOAP framework, and we're going to talk about the SOAP framework, and we're going to make sure that each and every one of us has that framework installed in our subconscious as a tool in our toolbox, or as a process that we can call on. And I like to say that we can call on without having to consciously think of it. So when little things come up, by practicing on the small things, by practicing and using the framework to make the small decisions, the small choices, dealing with the small changes and challenges that come up in our life, it makes the big ones that happen, which will inevitably happen to us as well, easier to handle, easier to manage, because we've got all this practice on the easy everyday things. It's like decision making. The more and better you get at decision making, the easier it is to make decisions. And decision makers lead, right? Decision makers at least lead and control and produce their own life. We have a lot of freedom when we learn how to respond in ways that we want to respond to changes and challenges and situations that come our way. So our action item today, it's not to think about our current process, because we'll do that in a couple of days again. And we've done it 9 times if you've been with me this year. We've done it 9 times already. We've thought about where we are versus where we want to be. That creates a gap. We fill that gap with the rest of the SOAP framework. And we can do that on a conscious level for big changes that come, big challenges that come our way. You know, think of COVID. I used COVID a lot on the SOAP framework, which is why I started sharing it with other people, because I'm like, why would I keep this to myself when I see what a huge impact it's had on me and my life and those I love and care about? Why would I not share that? So that's what we're doing as part of this entire annual challenge. Every day is a change. Every day is a new thing, a new challenge, right? So let's embrace it and practice on the little things. So when the big things come up, we are 100% confident that we've got it. So our action item today is just to think about, on a scale of 1 to 10, because we know I like scales from 1 to 10. I don't know if you can see this, but scales from 1 to 10 about change. 1 being you hate it, you push against it, you fight against it with all your might. 10 being you think it's awesome, you look for changes and challenges because you know that they help you grow and move toward what it is that you actually want. And in this challenge, our end game, our end goal is to every day get to know ourselves better, to increase our self-awareness, to understand what makes us tick, to define things for us, to have processes and tools. And we've covered literally hundreds of tools so far this year. We're gonna continue over the next 3 months, 2.5 months, to cover more tools, because the more things we have in our toolbox, the more effective and the easier our life can be, right? Easier because we don't want everything to be hard, and we can't use one tool like a hammer for everything. The SOAP framework is just a foundational thing, but it's only one tool in our toolbox. Sometimes we need much more robust decision-making tools or problem-solving tools, right? And we've talked about those and we'll continue to. So scale of 1 to 10, how do you handle change? How do you feel about change? Because everything starts with our feelings, right? It all starts with our feelings and emotions, and then we dress it up with our thoughts, which intensify, either in a positive or negative way, our emotions, and that's what causes us to act. So scale of 1 to 10, just share a number below. I guess I haven't thought about what my number would be. I guess I'm like a 9. I am to the point where I create systems and processes and procedures to automate the parts of my life or to simplify as many things as I can in my life. And I get excited about finding ways that I can do that. I get excited about, although I get exhausted, different projects to organize and improve different areas and aspects of my life. So if I can help you anyway, any questions about this, hit me up. Love to know how you, up to this point, have thought about pain, about change. Most of us think change is a pain. How have you thought about change, and how can you, going forward, understand that it's inevitable? So the best thing that you can do for yourself and to set the example for people you love and care about is to have a way of handling change and challenges that's automatic, unless it requires all of you, meaning your subconscious and your conscious mind. All right, questions, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.